I bow to all the seekers of truth. So far, we have been seeking so many other things. Some felt that by seeking money, we'll achieve the ultimate joy and the freedom. And some felt that if you have the power, then you will be the Lord of this universe. Some felt that if I could be just concerned about my limited family, about my children, it would be the most joyous thing. Ultimately, we discover that all these are nothing but mental or emotional projections, which are linear in its movement. Also, we tried to find out about science, about music, about art. But any one of them on one side of our mental or emotional projection make us absolutely one-sided, or we can say they put us into imbalances. And we can see the effects of that in modern times, that people are having problems which we feel have no solutions for it. And sort of we are sometimes on the verge of shocks. As a result of that, people have taken to things which are very absurd and destructive. That has added to the problems that we have already. So let us find out the truth about ourselves. Why are we here on this earth? And what have we to achieve by leading this human life? And there, when we start asking this question, we look back at all the great prophets and incarnations and try to understand why is it they never had these problems as we have, except that others tortured them and troubled them, killed them, poisoned them. They themselves were at peace with themselves and always thought of the benevolence of them, of others, and also of the whole collective. This kind of personalities we have seen in every country. It's not only in a particular country, but everywhere we have seen there have been such great people. What was the basis? What was their speciality? Why were they higher than us? How could they see a greater vision? For that, I say, we have to seek the truth. And the truth is within ourselves. The truth is within us lies the spirit which is reflected in our heart, and that we have to bring that spirit into our attention. And the another truth is that all the living work, all the beautiful work of creation and also of our evolution, everything is done by a power which is called by different names, like in Quran they call it Ruh, in Bible we call it all-pervading power of God. In Sanskrit language, it is called as Brahma Chaitanya. In every scripture, it is described as a subtle energy which looks after us, which works out all that is living, which does everything that is important for us, everything that is vital. This energy exists. Now, when I say all these things to you, you need not take it up as the truth itself. But like scientists, you must keep your mind open. And whatever I am saying should be treated as if there is a proposition before you put, like a hypothesis that a scientist put in. Now, it is proved, if it is proved that you can feel this all-pervading power of God's love on your fingertips, on your central nervous, then you have to accept it as honest people. And if it exists, what can it do to us? What is the promise? And what do we get out of it? The first thing that happens to us when this self-realization takes place, through the awakening of our residual power, which we call as Kundalini, from the triangular bone of sacrum, that it passes through 6 subtle centers, which look after all our plexuses, all our ductless glands, emotions, everything. And the first outcome of this is that physically you feel all right. I must tell you that the other day in Perth, we cured 2 patients of AIDS. Very surprising. In Australia only, we had cured about 3 persons of AIDS. Out of them, 1 is still surviving. And 2 of them had no willpower to overcome their habit. I think this habit is the strongest, because they get over all other habits like alcoholism, like drug addiction. They get over. I don't know why they couldn't get over this habit. And that's how one of them died and one of them is in a mess. They just can't get over it. I hope so and pray that the ones we have cured, their husband and wife, who looked so beautiful, would survive. I've told them you have to just keep your willpower afloat. So when this Kundalini rises, see the residual power placed in the sacrum bone. The sacrum is the word in Greek language means sacred, and also in Latin means sacred. That means the Greeks knew about it, that is a sacred bone. And pierces through the 6 subtle centers, ultimately piercing through the fontanelle bone area, which is a soft bone in our head. Thus, actualizing the experience of baptism. Like this instrument has to be connected to the mains, the human instrument has to be connected to the mains. And once it is connected to the mains, it just starts working. First of all, you start getting this power, which is the power which comforts us, cures us, the power that counsels us, because you reach the point of absolute truth. Like as you are looking at me, you can say that I am standing here before you with your eyes. In the same way, you can feel the all-pervading power on your fingertips, and you can decode it and can find out what's wrong with you and what's wrong with others. Secondly, it gives you a mental balance. Many people who have been suffering from mental troubles have been cured with Sahaja. It's nothing to do with me as such. It is your own. It just works out. It's a living process of the living energy of evolution, and this is the last jumping, or we can say the breakthrough. And there you are into that new realm which we call as the realm of divinity. Once you become a divine personality, you start developing another consciousness and another dimension in your awareness. Is the expansion of your awareness comes through, by which you become collectively conscious, which is described by Jung very clearly. That means you can feel another person on your fingertips, and you can feel yourself on your fingertips. That's how nobody is the other. You become collectively conscious. Now you'll be amazed, these people are Australians here who are singing these songs. It's very difficult. Comes from Sanskrit language and a little bit from Marathi also, which is another more difficult than Sanskrit in a way. And how clearly they're pronouncing. You'll be amazed that when we had English ruling us in India, to teach them one sentence, it used to take 1 year. And that too, when they pronounced, nobody understood. I remember we were sitting in the church when one pastor was giving a lecture or a sermon in Marathi language. And my grandma was sitting next to me. And she asked me, what language is he using? And this gentleman had gone into a thorough education of Marathi language, had passed many examinations, and this was the situation. But today I find Australians so beautifully singing, even Sanskrit songs they sing so well. So what has happened to them is that they have now become people of universal nature. And they can pick up any song. I have seen Indians singing English songs or say Italian songs, Spanish songs, all kinds of things they have picked up so fast in such a small little group. Some of them are only 1 year old in Sahaja Yoga. You can't imagine how their tongues become so subtle that they can pronounce all kinds of tongue twisters. And they are very peaceful people, very peaceful within themselves. Peace is your own. It is within you, which starts manifesting once you become a self-realized person. And you become a very satisfied person. The whole countenance, the temperament, everything changes. The face shines and the eyes glitter. It's something of a very unique nature that you become. But you are the glory, and it has to happen to you. Apart from this, so many things happen. I've seen that there are people who came to me and said, my children are hopelessly bad, they can't do well in the colleges and schools and things, and they are standing first. It's very surprising. Now in England, there's such a big rate of unemployment, but there is very hard to find an unemployed Sahaja Yogi in England. It's very surprising. They all just get employment. They get so dynamic. Very dynamic. We have known people who had never painted, who had never known what is art. In Australia, they have become great artists. In Australia, they have a big name as artists. So all these things are within us, not yet fully enlightened. Partly we are using it, and that is the reason we think that we cannot do anything better. But if I say these things are there, and so many others within us, why not we do it? Of course, you can't pay for all these things. This is another mistake, that we think we can pay for God. God doesn't understand money. He never knew what was money. It's only a human creation. You can't pay for God. You can pay for this hall, but you can't pay for your realization, which is a living force. Like the Mother Earth sprouts the seed, but you can't pay the Mother Earth. She doesn't understand money. You don't have to stand on your heads to sprout the seed. It just works. In the same way, it is all within you, and the time has come, which I call as the blossom time, and so many people have to get their realization. Today, I think I'll make a short speech so that you can ask me some questions, and then we'll have the session of realization. But at the same time, what I have to tell you is this, that I have not come here to gather votes for elections. I am not here to get anything out of you. I am here to just give you your own properties, your own beings being opened out. And I hope you will ask all relevant questions and not something aggressive. That would be better to understand this subject. In this short speech, I can't tell you many things, but there are at least 3,000 to 4,000 lectures of mine only in English language, which you can hear later on. I hope today most of you get your self-realization. May God bless you all.